system. The largest power or competencies in our parties, the parties that we analyzed, were given to the president of the party, Mr. Dodik, Party of Independent, Union of Independent Social Democrats, dash Milorad Dodik. At the end, I would like to say, I would like to stress certain limits that were imposed over this analysis. We could analyze by applying Mr. Čular's model. We could analyze only what was written on paper, statutory provisions of all those political parties. Those statutory provisions that we analyzed were not applied by most of these parties. They do not adhere to their statutes, and this is why we have various examples that we elaborated in more detail in this paper. It would be my great pleasure if we could discuss this once the time for discussion comes. Thank you for your attention.
Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about the internal democracy of the political parties in Kosovo at the local level, internal and external perspective. Well, the methodology of the research is based on quantitative research, which is a survey with political parties, to be more specific, with representatives of the political parties, and also we have used the findings of the specific part of the general population survey for the internal party democracy, and the other part is qualitative research, which is internal discussion roundtable with representatives of the political political parties. Firstly, I'm going to show you some graphics from the findings from the GPS. Then we'll go on with the survey with political parties. The first one is about the question who has the right to nominate candidates for MPs. As we can see, most of the citizens have set boards of presidents. Then the second one is, in your opinion, who makes the final decision on nomination of the MP candidates? It's 28% board of the presidents, and the president 25%. We have also asked when it comes to internal party elections, in which manner should the party leadership be elected in your opinion? Well, a lot of them said don't know, refusal, but a good part said that internal party elections in which participate all the party members with 28%, and elections in which all the interested citizens could participate. And the party congress, which is actually the most important because it writes in the statutes of the political parties, is not very favorable for the citizens. They don't see it very much effective. And the last one that we could have taken from the general population survey is the question, in your opinion, should the rules be the same for all parties in the following? It was about the decision-making procedures, election of party leadership, and nomination of candidates for MPs. Well, most of them said yes, with 38, 36, and 39%, but no is also a strong answer from the citizens. On the other side, as I told you before, we made a survey which included self-assessment of 190 respondents, officials of Kosovo's political parties, who were mainly the heads of branches, members of leaderships, party activists, etc. It was divided in three parts. The first part is about the internal democracy at the local level. The second one is the relation with a central level and local level. And the third one is policy making at the local level. Well, we start with the first one, internal party democracy. We have the self-assessment of internal party democracy in the concerned branches. As we can see, we have high grades here because it's from 1 up to 10, the grade for this self-assessment. We see maybe the average is 8.5, 9 maybe. Also, we have asked about the self-assessment of transparency in the concerned branches. I have to mention that we have made this self-assessment in 15 municipalities in Kosovo, because we have also made some trainings with political parties. And the third one is self-assessment of the level of democracy during the nomination of candidates for mayor. As we can see, there's always a positive answer with high grades, 8, 9. The last one is 7.7. And the last one for this chapter is self-assessment of the level of democracy during the nomination of candidates for the list of municipal assembly. We also have from 7.58 to 9.14, which is a high grade. The second part of the survey was relations between local and central levels. The self-assessment of the communication between local and central structures. It's from 7.08 to 9.57. We had another question regarding from the aspect of representation and mobilization of your party at the local level. Do you consider that the presence of the representatives from the center is indispensable? Most of them mostly said yes. Where is the highest responsibility for the organization? My apologies if I'm a bit fast, but you said that we don't have much time. Where is the highest responsibility for the organization of the party at the local level? At the branches they said that local level has the major responsibility for the organization. And almost all the parties answered in the same way. At the question about who should exercise the control of the party at the local level, they were a bit divided. Some of them said headship of the branch, some of them said about the council. It depends a bit the statuses of the statutes of the political parties and how they are managed by their leadership. Is there a need for further decentralization of your party as far as the decision-making is concerned? Most of them, except Revizija Vedvendosje, which is self-determination party, said yes. Vedvendosje said no. And the last one regarding this part, do you think that the local level of your party should have higher financial autonomy from the central level? All of them mostly said yes, except Vedvendosje, self-determination movement. It said no with 42%. And the last one, policy making at the local level. It was a self-assessment of the need of the branch to communicate with the central level in the drafting of the program for the local elections. Is from 7.33 to 8.35, which is a high rating. The assessment of the cooperation of the political parties with the civil society at the local level, in the difference from the other self-assessments, they don't see very much worthy to cooperate with civil society. But on the other side, we have the assessment for the cooperation of the political parties with the groups of interests, and they have a bit higher cooperation than with civil society. Who creates the local policies at your branch? Most of them mostly said the branch is responsible to create the local policies. Do you think that a continual coordination of central policies with the local ones is necessary? Most of them said yes. And the last one, do you think the central policies should be decisive for the coalitions at the local level? Most of them, except self-determination movement, said no. Regarding this, we have come to some conclusions. and I'm going to mention only several important aspects. Firstly, it is obvious that officials and activists of Kosovar political parties view internal democracy within their parties in considerably more favorable terms than this internal democracy is viewed by citizens. We see that even the most critical officials and activists of political parties were extremely inclined to provide quite high self-assessment of internal democracy. The second one is about the nomination of the party candidates for MPs. As we saw from the slideshow, citizens are very inclined to think that entities that nominate candidates for the MPs are not exactly the same with entities who have the right to nominate those candidates. On the other hand, we ask to self-assess in grades from 1 up to 10 the level of internal democracy during the nomination of candidates for mayor or municipal assemblies. The officials and activists of Kosovar political parties have high grades about this. Another one is how the party leadership should be elected. Well, if we compare and the answer of Kosovar local officials and activists on the question on who should exercise control of the party at the local level, again, more than half of citizens think that the party leadership should be elected by members or even by interested citizens. On the other side, we have a very low grade for this issue from the political parties who think that members should control from 0 to 6% the political branches of the political parties. Another one, on the other side, from the point of view of the political parties' representatives, the central issues for development of internal democracy